Today, I'm pleased to make a truly historic announcement in our battle against the China virus that will save countless lives. Convalescent, strong antibodies from the blood of recovered patients to help treat patients battling a current infection. Convalescent, this is the only possible, and it's only made possible because of Operation Convalescent. Today, I'm pleased to make a truly historic announcement in our battle against the China virus that will save countless lives. We provided $48 million to fund the Mayo Clinic study that tested the efficacy of convalescent plasma. The virus. Convalescent plasma. This is the only possible, and it's only made possible because of Operation Convalescent plasma.
Nobody that's a leader would not do what I did. And I know there's a risk, there's a danger, but that's okay. I just left Walter Reed Medical Center. And I learned so much in coronavirus. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. We have the best medical equipment. Don't be afraid of it. It felt great, like better than I have in a long time. Don't be afraid of it. I didn't feel so good. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. We have the coronavirus. Don't be afraid of it. And now I'm better, and maybe I'm immune. I don't know. Be afraid of it. Don't let it dominate. Don't let it take over your lives. Be afraid of it.
All right, guys, I got to cut in because before the Biden event, we do have a live Republican press briefing. Listen to this insanity.
Nominee for Secretary of State. I voted against Tony Blinken, but I also spent an hour and a half in my office talking with Tony. I look forward to working with him as Secretary of State, and I'm hopeful. I voted against him and a number of Biden nominees because they had executed a pivot.
Someone told me Gwen Stefani's older than Ted Cruz. Is that true? Can you imagine?
There's a difference between that and a nominee who is woefully unqualified. And I would note, none of Becerra's defenders have come back with anything and said, no, he does know something about healthcare. He knows something about medicine, he knows something about science. You know, the Democrats as a talking point like to say they care about science. And yet, in the middle of a global pandemic, they want someone
strong hype train
Health and Human Services Agency who has zero scientific background. That's unacceptable on the merits, and it shows, I think, the wrong priorities.
Senator Marshall, why is this a good faith no vote if you're going to vote no on basically all of the nominees anyway?
Well, I think I'll probably end up about 50-50, but the general theme here is unqualified and extreme. The people of Kansas sent me here to do a job, and I'm doing that job to the very best of my ability, using my very best judgment to make sure that we have the people in place to help get us through this crisis, to help to get our economy going again, figuring out how do we get shots.
This is Republicans justifying obstruction.
And getting kids back to school. Those are my immediate goals. Thank you.
Here's Lankford, out of his mind.
Mr. Becerra, and has the White House made him available to meet with you if that's something you're interested in doing?
We had the hearings with him. He's had 2 back-to-back hearings, but I've not personally met with him, have met him before and had the opportunity to be able to interact with him. Any other last questions?
I have one more, and this is just more general for HHS. We know right now that there are illegal immigrants who are either in border detention facilities or wherever they are that are receiving COVID testing and COVID vaccines. Is that something you would be concerned about increasing with Becerra heading HHS?
Yes, I'm very concerned about people being tested for the virus.
With testing COVID vaccines, and he's been pretty outspoken that Becerra wants to also have health care for everyone who's not legally present here in the country. Obviously, it's an enormous shift for us and an enormous policy change that Congress has not addressed in the past. But he's been pretty outspoken that that is a desire that he wants
Look
to
at Ted Cruz.
It is an area that I've personally challenged other nominees on, like DHS, to say, hey, I have a concern that we have restrictions on people flying in from Central America in their tests, but now you're allowing people to just physically cross the border that have a different standard on that. That's a concern that's a DHS concern. HHS obviously handles the children once they leave the facility and they go into their care.
People asking about the South Dakota AG. Yes, we covered that on the bonus show today.
Come in. They've gone back to the locations that Democrats in the past said were kids in cages, that were actually facilities built by the Obama administration, that were okay for the Obama administration to use. But were not okay for the Trump administration to use. The Biden administration's back to using them again. So it's just this bizarre thing, and they're basically saying, well, we have to keep kids separated.
Look at Cruz.
But they're putting them in the exact same location that they criticized the Trump administration for doing. That's HHS that oversees the care of those children once they leave there and actually get placed.
I would like to see Ted Cruz just slowly slink down until he's out of camera shot and then go out.
I took the liberty to go to the border with a group of doctors in Congress, I guess 2 years ago, and this is a problem before COVID even. We have a limited number of resources, and before there was COVID, there was tuberculosis and hepatitis, other types of contagious disease, which are more prominent in Mexico and Central America as well. So it was a stress before, and then it just becomes a volume issue, trying to keep up with all the numbers of people. Our folks down there, our doctors, our nurses, are very committed, doing the best they can, but there's a certain amount of volume that we're able to do. And then this increased numbers is going to stress them even more. And then now we throw COVID on top of that as well, just adding to the situation here. I absolutely believe we can get to herd immunity by April or May. We now know that the vaccinations are 75-80% effective after one shot. We've already distributed 95 million vaccinations. I think we'll make it to that 100 days pretty easily, maybe even next week as well. And we have the potential to do 3 million vaccinations a day, can easily get to herd immunity if our president's team and our governors do their job. Thank you.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks so very much.
A very, very brief press briefing from Republicans supposedly was going to be Mitch McConnell as well, the Senate minority leader, but I guess he's not here. We will keep an eye on that as we stand by for Joe Biden. And you've missed nothing. The main event here is this Biden 50 millionth vaccine event, and we're going to have more news about upcoming distribution. We are very close. Sometime in the next, I would say 48 to 96 hours, we will have a third vaccine approved, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It's a one-dose vaccine. And that is just a really, really great thing. The latest numbers from the standpoint of vaccination are that we are averaging over the last week 1.45 million injections per day. That is lower than where we were. As you can see, the bars are daily injections. The line is the 7-day average. The 7-day average peaked about a week ago, 9 days at 1.7. Then because of the terrible weather in different parts of the country, numbers have been down, and hopefully this will go back up, but very well on track for 1 million a day for 100 days. And soon, I think we will probably be averaging 2 to 2.2 million a day, and that's a really good thing. Now, I do want to address one super chat that came in. Dark just sent me a super chat saying, here is some money to say vaccines are good, David. Yeah, so this relates to, I confronted an anti-vaxxer yesterday. Thanks to TYT for the raid. Welcome, everybody, coming over from the Young Turks. Great to have you guys. We're standing by for a big vaccination event. I dealt with an anti-vaxxer yesterday, and I published my entire correspondence with her to Facebook, YouTube, and our podcast. And one of the allegations she made is that she was shocked I would accept money to promote the vaccine. And it's like, who would pay me to promote? Who am I? You're trying to vaccinate, billions of people. How is it even worth it? How is it even a strategy to pay me? I just actually understand the science of these vaccines. That's it. Juicy Bacon says, David, have you heard about the Joy trying to lock in USPS new fleet as gas-powered? Shady dude. Will he be removed? Yes. Today, I interviewed Ro Khanna, and we also have a report on today's podcast about how Joe Biden will remove DeJoy. Because the Postmaster General is not a cabinet-level position, Biden can't just get rid of him. So what Joe Biden is doing is he's going to pack the Postal Service Board of Governors. He's going to add 3 left-leaning governors to that board of governors. That will give Democrats the majority on the Postal Service board, and then they are going to say bye-bye to Louis DeJoy, and we will have... Can you imagine having a Postmaster General who wants the post office to do well? Think about that. Rather than one that's trying to ruin the post office, which is a long tactic from the playbook of Republicans. If there's an agency you don't like, you attack it and say it's terrible. Then you're put in charge of it and you actually make it terrible. And then you say, look, I told you guys, it's terrible because you made it terrible. Then Democrats come in and say, here's a plan to fix it. And then Republicans say, that's too expensive. We can't afford that. That's just too expensive. Okay, so we've got that. I've been asked about the South Dakota Attorney General thing. I am fine talking about that a little bit. We talked about that on the broadcast, on the bonus show today. You know what? Let me just deal with one other thing. I keep seeing this stuff, people asking me, why does Dave Rubin's YouTube channel do so much better than mine? And I couldn't understand why people were asking me this, so I actually decided to look into the data. There's many days on which we get 10 times more views than Dave Rubin's YouTube channel. Now, there's many right-wing YouTube channels that get more views than me. Like, if that's the data, that's the data. But I just pulled this up. Take a look at this. Yes, it's true. Dave Rubin in blue has more subscribers than I do. But look at views. We're in red. It's just not even close. I don't know why people are getting off on this idea of the Dave Rubin YouTube channel is so much bigger. 850 million views to 340 million. And if you look at the day by day, this is day by day, okay? Going all the way back to, look, this is October of 2019. Whoop, hold on a second. If you go all the way back to October of 2019, you can count on two hands the number of days on which Dave Rubin's channel got more views than we did. Like, I guess there's a day here around September of 2020. There's a day here around October of 20. We are crushing. And in fact, look at this. 1.1 million daily views to 217,000 daily views. Again, if Dave Rubin was crushing us on YouTube, I'd be the first to tell you he's crushing us. There's many right-wing channels that crush us. But our channel is like 5 to 10x from the standpoint of views. It's shocking what is going on. So anyway, no more Dave Rubin stuff. We're not going to talk about Dave Rubin anymore. Just massive dumps of views coming in left and right. Okay. Big thank you to Crazy Hawaiian in Pennsylvania for 11 months subscribed on Twitch, as well as Endies and a bunch of other people. I do want to say thanks to all 7 of you who have just subscribed via Twitch. Also, thank you to Adam Prawl, who just signed up at joinpacman.com, and Ellen Wallace. Adam and Ellen, thank you so much for your support. Yes, using the coupon code working perfectly at joinpacman.com. Very much appreciate it. Josh says, did I get a laptop yet? I should reach out to Andrew Elias with Exotic PC. He's the guy to know. Loving the live feeds. I have not made a laptop decision yet. Maybe I should speak to this Andrew Elias. Dennis says, what are your thoughts on Canada's slow vaccine rollout and inability to get any from the U.S.? I honestly don't know anything about it. I don't know enough about it to really be able to comment in any serious manner. So I wouldn't be able to say. Okay, a few other things to look at. This is what we call weaponized ignorance. Senator John Thune from South Dakota, he tweeted about his opposition to a $15 minimum wage. Okay, and he says, I started working by bussing tables at the Star Family Restaurant for $1 an hour and slowly moved up to cook. The big leagues for a kid like me to earn $6 an hour. Businesses in small towns survive on narrow margins. Mandating a $15 minimum wage would put many of them out of business. I don't know anything about $1 an hour. That sounds under the table to me. But let's look at what he's saying here. $6 an hour, and he says he was a kid. Let's assume he was 18 years old when he was making $6 an hour, okay? $6 an hour. He was born in 1961. 61 plus 18, 1 would carry 9, 5, 6. Okay, that's 1979. You like my math there? 1979 $6 an hour. That's $21.62 in today's dollars. Okay? He is saying we shouldn't have a $15 minimum wage. When I was a kid, I made $6 an hour in 1971, which is almost $22 in today's money. Now, does he not understand the time value of money? Or does he understand it, but he thinks his followers are so stupid that they don't? So he uses this. What do people think? He doesn't care, okay? That may be. Yeah, I do. That's probably it. So anyway, that's the latest from John Thune, a very, very stupid argument against the $15 minimum wage. Now, I am the first to acknowledge, and I'm going to go into this in detail on today's podcast. If you look at a state like Alabama, which has no state minimum wage, so the federal of $7.25 is the prevailing minimum wage in Alabama. And Alabama is one of the lowest cost of living states in the country. It's really cheap to live in Alabama. I can sympathize with the concern that for small service-oriented businesses where labor is the primary input, more than doubling the minimum wage is potentially a concern. I'm willing to concede that. Okay? I'm not talking about McDonald's, where the vast majority of their costs are rent and food supplies and equipment, stuff like that. But I'm saying, if you have a small service-based business where it's really labor, that's what it is, and you go from $7.25 to $15, and it's a really cheap state to live in, we should look at a situation like Alabama. In many parts of the country, 15 isn't high enough. So anyway, the point is there's a respectable, fact-based, empirical discussion to have around the minimum wage, which just about everywhere should be at least 15. But the one about I made $6 an hour in 1979 is a very, very stupid one. Nicholas Bart says, David, have you covered the Andrew Cuomo situation at all? Seems like his phone calls to New York officials are intimidating and Trump-like. I have a 15-minute segment talking about all 4 aspects of the Andrew Cuomo scandal on today's podcast. It'll be published in about an hour. We go into miscategorizing nursing home deaths as hospital deaths. I go into sending COVID patients back to nursing homes. I go into allegations of bullying, and I go into allegations of sexual harassment. Now, I know that there's many people who may be new to my content who are going to insist, David, you're hiding that story because you're a Democrat and you never criticize Democrats. First of all, I'm not a Democrat. I've never been a Democrat. Number 2, no, that's not what we do on this program. I don't deify politicians. I don't care if it's Bernie or Tulsi or Yang or these are just people. We evaluate what they do. We evaluate what they say. I don't care about party. We're going into all 4 aspects. Some are more concerning than others. Everything should be investigated. Okay, that's on today's podcast, and we'll have a YouTube clip a little bit later. Dom says, hey, Pacman, I heard through the grapevine that you got the squeaker gavel. I promised a $50 super chat if you got it. Loving the show. Before you know it, we will have you in a powdered wig and judge's robes to adjudicate unbanned requests. Dom came through with the promised $50 super chat. We will have a celebratory gaveling. There it is. And I actually don't have any unbanned requests today to adjudicate. There's none. If I had them to adjudicate, I would. Tristan says, can you help us understand the Obama used the same facility comment? Love to know your thoughts. Yeah, that's true. The facility wasn't built by Trump. And to some degree, that facility was also in use during the Obama administration. That's true. It doesn't tell us much about policy. And I actually interviewed Ro Khanna today, and we talk about the immigration situation. Very disturbing situation, no doubt about it. Okay, I have a new voicemail character if you guys want me to do that, or we can do South Dakota AG interrogation video. You guys tell me what you want. No Troy York voicemails today. I'm not even going to do a vote. The Troy York voicemails, the audience has turned more and more against the Troy York voicemails. I used to find them more interesting because he would sometimes make arguments that were not like the same pedantic, boring arguments. Troy York has gotten so pedantic, it's just a waste of time. So I'm not going to do any Troy York voicemails today, but I do have 2 voicemails from a guy I have not yet nicknamed. We have no nickname. He's from Jersey, and it's pretty weaponized. So I have that, or we can look at the AG stuff. Let's do AG. Okay, so this is the deal with the South Dakota Attorney General. The South Dakota Attorney General, Jason Ravensborg, he killed someone while driving on the highway, and he left the scene. And initially, his story was, I thought I hit a deer. Essentially was what his original story. And this has started to become less and less believable, partially because the victim's glasses were inside Jason Ravensborg's vehicle. And a whole bunch of other things have come out. We now have video of part of the, I don't know if we would call it an interrogation or a questioning with detectives. And this is the moment where he's told the fact that the glasses were in your vehicle signals that his face hit your car. I don't know if this reaction is genuine, if he's acting. I really have no idea. Okay, let's take a look at a little bit of this video here.
That was on the visor. The other was in the glove box.
The glove box, yes.
Did you have to take things out of the
Yes,
glove box?
I had to move stuff around, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you notice anything on the passenger side while you were doing that?
Just glass. I mean, I was staying away from the glass, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time.
So when you're doing that, are you leaning over the console?
Yes,
or are you...
from the driver's door, leaning over, yes.
Okay. So you can kind of see in the glove box, and
Right.
which
And
is already
like I said,
popped open.
It's already popped open, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So did you see the glasses right next to that?
I did not.
Okay.
You showed me the glasses the first time.
They're-
That's the first time
They're Joe's glasses.
I wondered about that.
So that means his face came through your windshield.
So it's kind of weird, like, okay, you were in an accident and glasses that aren't yours are in the car. And you were sort of wondering whether maybe the glasses belong to the victim. I mean, it's like, what? I thought I hit a deer, and then I saw these glasses, and I guess I wondered if maybe they belonged to a person. Like, no, they were the deer's. It was the deer's glasses. Now, I don't know if this reaction is
It's a
genuine.
tough thing.
Oh,
It also may be a genuine reaction to him realizing he might be screwed. I don't know.
I was thinking that his face did not come through because there would have been I thought there'd been blood everywhere then. Now, I've thought about it.
Yeah, and then you've had time.
Right.
His glasses are right there, Jason. Those are Joe's.
I did not see the glass until you showed it to me.
Sure. So the only way for them to get there is through the windshield.
So I don't know. I mean, listen, I have a hard time believing that he thought he hit a deer. That it's tough for me to believe that. I do believe that he may have been under the influence, and some are saying in the 911 call, he sounds like he's under the influence. I do believe that it may have been a panic moment of some kind and he acted, or I don't know, but a lot of this is just sort of like not really adding up. So he may be in some real trouble, and we're going to be following that. Could have fallen asleep is another possibility. I believe there was also an inconsistency where he believed he was on the shoulder, but he was in the median, or vice versa. Like his statement said he was on the shoulder, but he was really in the median, or the other way. I'm not sure, but we're going to continue following it, and it's not looking particularly good. There's shock, there's processing. I get it. But he has not struck me as being particularly forthcoming either. So I don't know. You guys sort of know everything I know at this point in time. Okay. Eugene says, can we call it the squavel instead of the gavel? Maybe. Benedict Downing says, I made 4 helium atoms a nanosecond during the Big Bang, and look at where I am now. Okay. Very good. Well said. Thank you. I want to say thanks to Blake A. Stone for gifting a subscription Also, thanks to I Need 6 Eggs for subscribing with Prime, and Try I Gamer for subscribing with Prime. That is 3 additional people, putting us at 12. This is a great time to renew your Prime subs if you've not used it. If you have Amazon Prime and you've not used your Twitch Prime sub, this is a great time to use it. But even more importantly, thanks Tegan Marie and Foxon as well. Even more importantly, this is a great time to get a membership on my website, joinpacman.com. It's really a perfect membership. Ferret says, what about a set wage increase or $5 or more? Massachusetts would be 16, 17. Cheaper states would go to 12. It's at least a start. Yeah, you could look at a dollar increase or a percentage increase. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. There's a lot of different ideas. Chakaseki says, early in the morn, quite near dawn, Ravensbourg hit a bespectacled fawn. Very much Jack Frost-like almost, in a sense. Okay. All right, we've gotten that. Let's go to the new voicemails. This is a new voicemail character. This is a guy from Jersey. It's quite weaponized and there is foul language. I want to warn people in case there are kids in the room. Let's listen to it. What I want from you is an idea for what the nickname for this caller should be. Let's take a listen. Stand back and stand by. Here we go.
Well, here we go again. There's Bob from Lakeland, Florida. You know, where the Florida where...
Now, the reason I say he's from Jersey is at some point in the voicemail, he says he's originally from Jersey. I get he's calling from Florida.
Where your buddy came down here during vacation to get away, have a vacation, you know, Florida, you know, where we could go to the beach and we could go to the stores and we could go to the gym and, you know, a place like that. Oh, by the way, what's going on with your buddy Biden? He's starting to warmonger again. I knew this shit was going to start. That's why I hate Democrats. They ain't got no money for they ain't got Medicaid. Can't get Medicaid for all. No, hell no. You can't get paid college loan, you know, paid college. Oh, fuck that. Oh, but we could start wars and we could have military bases and butt into all these countries' business and, you know, all this bullshit. And that's why the world's all screwed up, because America keeps meddling in other people's business. Oh,
commenting on domestic and foreign policy is this guy.
What about the kids in the cages crap? Oh, Biden's playing.
That's a real issue, and we're covering that.
Around with putting the immigrants in them migrant camps over there again. On the border. Yeah, hold your nose and vote Democrat. Bullshit. We need to get out of this Democrat-Republican crap. We need to get away from this shit. The Electoral College needs to go too, so we can finally elect some libertarians, you know.
Well, so I am in favor of getting rid of that. We actually may have some points of agreement here.
Somebody that actually gives a shit. You know, people want Medicare for all. Great, let's do it. People want paid college. Hey, let's do it. You know, I'm getting tired of it. Of course, most of my friends, they're all leaving. They're going to Mexico. And, of course, my friends before the Vietnam War, during that terror,
that's interesting.
They all fled to Canada to get away from that shit.
This guy's not as weaponized as I thought, actually. Here's one more from Jersey guy. I think in this one he says he's from Jersey.
Wow, I forgot all about this one. Yeah, David, this is Bob from Lakeland, Florida. Originally from New Jersey.
There it is.
Riverside, New Jersey. I grew up there. And I got the fuck out. You know why? Because the Democrats sent all the factory jobs to China. Foreign countries. Because at that time when they did it, it wasn't China. It was like Taiwan and, you know, stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, I like to thank them for that. Well, even the Republicans did it too, you know.
There it is. Okay, so he actually comes around to some logical things.
You know, and then I was hoping, well, maybe.
I mean, the thing about outsourcing is everybody agreed that we value cheap stuff from China more than keeping the manufacturing domestic and paying more for everything. Like, our economy is based on cheap stuff from China, and it's good he's recognizing that it's he's the manic moderate. Maybe that's the right. He's recognized that it's both Democrats and Republicans that agreed to that implicitly.
I get a job down in Atlantic City. Oh no, they had to let fucking Donald Trump in there and fuck all that up too. Raised hell about that. My daddy and my grandfather and me all raised hell. They threw us out. They threw us out of the thing because we told them to take Donald Trump and shove him up his ass. Anyway. I digress, but you know, this is the shit that goes on thanks to Democrats and Republicans. Oh yeah, Crowder got kicked off of Twitter because he actually went around and found out that people were registered to vote who lived in parking lots in the middle.
I don't dislike this guy. I mean, he's saying a lot of crazy things, but some okay things. So far, I think the manic moderate is the best nickname.
Highways. Abandoned lots, factory buildings. Yeah, I liked that one. That was good. He went around and actually went there, had his people go there and actually take a picture of people who are registered to vote who live in a street, who live in the middle of a street. That was the best one. Lived in the middle of the street. Yeah, buddy. This is America, boy. Thank God my friends left and went to Canada. And a lot of my other friends moved to Mexico and other parts of the, North Korea,
Some of his friends went to North Korea. Yeah, it's beautiful this time of year.
South
During apple harvesting season, it's just amazing there.
Korea and Vietnam and Mexico. I'm thinking about going there myself, Yeah, buddy. Yeah, this is America. Yeah, this is America. This is the America we live in. All thanks to the Democratic and Republican parties that you support. Yeah, buddy.
I mean, I certainly don't support the Republican Party. I will mostly vote for Democrats, but I'm not a Democrat. I mean, that's interesting. That's way more interesting than Troy York for sure. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Thanks to Francisco Rosales, who just signed up at joinpacman.com. I do want to warn people, this coupon code is ending at the end of this month. This month is only 28 days based on the calendar I'm looking at. So if you want to avail yourself of the Better 21 coupon code, this is the time to do it. Also, thanks to Fearless Freckles for subscribing for 6 months on Twitch. Paco Taco, Pope Poopin', Snowflake Warrior gifting 5 subs, and just a lot of really exciting things happening via Twitch, which I appreciate, putting us at 23 for the day. I did miss a few super chats, which I want to get to. Ferret Queen says, Foghorn Leghorn, surprisingly libertarian. Emma says, this guy is way more entertaining than Troy York. Scott says, in fairness, have you been to New Jersey? The best part is leaving. That's aggressive. Junie McGraw says, which of these choices had the worst week? Cuomo, Cruz, or the Lincoln Project? I would say Ted Cruz. I think Ted Cruz for sure. Godey says, I think you meant Robert Frost, not Jack Frost. Actually, when I said Jack Frost, I created a blend of Jack London and Robert Frost. And I said Jack Frost. Yeah, Jack Frost is a professional snowman. That's true. Okay. Don't worry, new code, same discount for March. Ooh, that's aggressive. That's very aggressive. My dad grew up in Riverside, New Jersey, used to be referred to as a river rat, so maybe the name should be River Rat Bob. I like the manic moderate, for some reason, is appealing to me. We can put it to a vote at some point in the future, but the manic moderate, I'm sort of liking. Okay, so we did that. Oh, I do have a Tucker. I've got a Tucker video I was going to review with you guys. We'll just turn the audio up here. This is Tucker Carlson's rant about a left-wing disinformation campaign from a few days ago. A bunch of people have asked me to review this. Let's just take a look at it.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. We take a lot of digs at the media on this show, and we do it for 2 reasons. It's fun, and they deserve it. Recently, we've watched with growing amusement as our media gatekeepers thrash around in a frenzy of foaming hysteria over the possibility that someone somewhere might dare to present facts or form opinions without their express written permission.
He can't possibly be talking about Fox.
Freelance thinking is what they hate most. It's a threat to their monopoly. They can't say that out loud, so instead they call it disinformation.
Oh, this is similar to when people say, anytime someone comes to you and they say, oh, Joe Biden stole the election, and the evidence is that there was like a van with not enough snacks for the vote count and Dominion, and then Mike Pillow did this, and then you go, that's a completely baseless conspiracy theory. And they go, conspiracy theory is a term used to discredit us without taking it seriously. Similar to what he's doing here. Disinformation is a term meant to silence.
Disinformation is the real threat, says the guy who thinks his union has the contract on bringing you the news. It's ridiculous. But before you judge these people, take a moment and feel some compassion. Consider how they might be feeling right about now. Imagine if you had spent 30 years making a good living as a car mechanic, and all of a sudden GM invents an engine that anyone can fix at home with a screwdriver. You'd be upset. That's how CNN feels about the internet. It's exposing their scam. Naturally,
wait, so is Tucker for or against right to repair on the basis of that example? That's a weird example, but that opens up a whole other can of worms. I'm still trying to process that example. What?
They're a little irrational about it.
Millions of Americans clinging to conspiracy theories. This is all evidence of radicalization.
How could you argue against that?
And that's not easy to say. It's not an easy word to use. But it's way past time to talk about this honestly. No one should tiptoe past this predicament. Disinformation networks like QAnon are causing people to lose touch with reality.
Disinformation networks? That doesn't sound like a misleading social media post.
Has Tucker watched Fox News ever?
It sounds like a terror cell. And it sounds that way on purpose. The thing about disinformation, they're telling us, is that it's not simply harmful to you personally. It's not like eating a pint of Ben & Jerry's or sneaking a smoke while the kids are at school. No, disinformation isn't a sin, it's a crime.
Well, I don't know about a crime, but it's certainly a societal problem.
Disinformation hurts everyone. It's an offense against this country.
That's true.
Disinformation is an attack on America, and not just on America, but more critically on something called...
What the hell is that?
Our norms.
Our norms are so out of whack that it has become surprising when good things happen.
Even after 4 years of us talking, night after night about the norms that are being shattered.
He is doing everything to shred every one of these norms.
How is this even controversial? Tucker has taken something completely undeniable and acting like it's some kind of concerted effort to lie about it.
We can't allow these kind of democratic norms to be shattered.
So we abided by these norms, but this president is just in this administration, just blown right through those norms.
Not since the Red Scare have once good men and women been dragged into this kind of sabotage of our democracy and social norms.
That may be a little hyperbolic and histrionic, okay.
Our norms. Shattered, shredded, crushed, destroyed, blown through. Why is it always our norms that are the first to be attacked? Maybe because our norms are democracy's first responders. They run to the sound of gunfire. Norms are like the young lieutenants in Vietnam walking point through the rice paddies, exposing themselves to fire.
Guys, I'm not going to lie. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Like, very often with Tucker, I know what he's talking about and I disagree with it. I don't have any idea what he's talking about here.
In order to save the platoon. It's a dangerous job being a norm, and never more so than now. You thought underwater welding was a treacherous gig? You feared for the guys who fix antennas on skyscrapers? That's nothing. Imagine being a norm in today's America. They don't last long. Okay, we'll stop. It's all pretty amusing and it's hard to resist. Our norms, our norms! On the other hand, if we're being completely honest here and we strive to...
Do older folks like this? I know Fox News' audience is very much older folks. Like, is this funny to anybody or compelling?
To be completely honest, we have to admit there is a kernel of truth in what they're yelling about. There is disinformation out there, and it does hurt people. It makes people stupid, for one thing, but it also impairs...
I think the causality is actually different. I don't think it's disinformation makes people stupid. I think it's lack of education, lack of critical thinking skills that leads to people falling for the disinformation. I think he has the causality reversed.
Their ability to make wise decisions. You can't know what to do next if you don't know what's really going on. A lot of people in this country are in that position right now. We saw evidence of it just this week. We read a research paper called How Informed Are Americans About Race and Policing? It was published by the Skeptic Research Center. Check it out online if you have a minute. It's a pretty amazing document. The researchers asked people to estimate the number of unarmed African Americans who were killed by the police in 2019. Here are the results. 44% of
another ad that I guess we're able to skip.
Americans who describe themselves as liberal believe the total number of killed was, quote, 1,000 or more. More than 1,000 unarmed African Americans gunned down by cops. Is that true? Well, as it happened, we have definitive statistics on this.
Hey, you know what's really funny about this? The numbers aren't that different between groups. Like, everybody's wrong. Okay, I understand that. But if you look at the little red bars, which are people who believe more than 10,000 unarmed black men were killed by police in 2019. The very conservative group, it looks like about 3 or 4% believe that. The very liberal group, it looks like it's 6%. Like these numbers aren't even so dramatically different. Like, yes, we know, okay? People on the left are more likely to think that more unarmed black men were killed. People on the right, less likely. But the difference is not even that big between a lot of these groups. You look at this is just ridiculous. It's a problem that people don't know the right numbers. I'm not denying that.
Publicly available, you could find them in about a minute. The actual number of unarmed African Americans killed by the police in 2019 was 27. So more than 1,000 versus the reality of 27. Quite a spread. And it was not an anomaly. The rest of the study found similar results. Self-described liberals, for example, believe that a strong majority of people killed by police in 2019 were African Americans.
Yeah, and that's obviously, when you understand the demographics of the country, it should be, there's lack of information on the left as well. And when you understand that the vast majority of the people in the country are white, it would take something really out there for the majority of the people killed by police not to be white. Of course, what matters is the rate.
The actual percentage was less than half that, closer to 25%. These are not small mistakes. A lot of Americans are completely and utterly misinformed, and that has actual consequences.
Yes.
Public policy can change dramatically on the basis of things people think they know but don't actually know, and we have seen that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you look back at the 2020 election, and something like 80% of Republicans thought Trump won. And then look at what happened. You were able to weaponize enough of them to create a riotous insurrection. So he's right that people's mistaken beliefs have real world consequences. That's true.
Entire police departments got defunded. So it's worth finding out where the public is getting all this false information, this disinformation.
Mostly from Fox News, a lot of it, actually.
As we'll call it. So we checked. We spent all day trying to locate the famous QAnon.
Oh, this is the best. Listen to this.
Which in the end we learned is not even a website. If it's out there, we could not find it.
How could QAnon exist without its own website, guys? It's not possible. QAnon has no, Q report. QReport.com. Couldn't exist.
Then we checked Marjorie Taylor Greene's Twitter feed because we have heard she traffics in disinformation.
You heard that.
But nothing there. Next, we called our many friends in the tight-knit intel community. Could Vladimir Putin be putting this stuff out there? The Proud Boys? Alex Jones? Who is lying to America in ways that are certain to make us hate each other and certain to destroy our core institutions? Well, none of the above, actually. It wasn't Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was cable news.
Okay. All right. I guess we get the idea of it. I don't know that we need to watch the rest of it, but really bizarre stuff. Apparently unable to think critically in any way on that program. Really strange stuff. Okay, let me get to a few other super chats. Big thank you to Sandra Jimenez, who just signed up at joinpacman.com. Sandra, thank you. You are a great person, and I really appreciate you signing up there. Also, thanks on Twitch to Wonder Doggy for the Twitch sub. Appreciate that very much. Okay, I missed a few super chats. Let me get caught up on them. Mike wants that new caller called Yeah Buddy Bob. Yeah, Buddy Bob would be good. That's not bad. Chakaseki says Yosemite Sam. That's not bad. That's actually not bad. Yosemite Sam. It just has nothing to do with the caller or anything they said. Maybe we'll save that. We'll pocket that one, Chakaseki, for a future caller. Am I going to be streaming the Trump CPAC speech Sunday? Yes. In fact, let's go over the CPAC schedule. There is a rumor that Donald Trump may be announcing his 2024 candidacy on Sunday at CPAC. I believe that if all goes well, I am scheduled to get my second vaccine dose, and I could be under the, oh my God, it's Kilmeade. I could be under the weather, but my hope and plan is to stream the CPAC event on Sunday. Let's take a look at the schedule. So today, a welcome reception sponsored by Fox Nation. Oh my God. Okay. Tomorrow they have a prayer, and then the Pledge of Allegiance, and then the national anthem. Okay. Florida welcomes CPAC open for business, where Governor Ron DeSantis will probably rant about how great it is Florida is ignoring the virus. Senator Mike Lee from Utah will speak about why the left hates the Bill of Rights and they love it. That should be funny. Then they are going to have, like, what is this even? Amendment 1, MC Carly Patrick. Freedom of speech, Governor Scott Walker. Freedom of religion, James Lankford. Freedom of press, Alex Berenson. Alex Berenson is like the COVID truther who keeps appearing on Fox News. Pam Bondi will speak, and then Josh Mandel. I don't know who that is. They'll have a segment or a panel on tolerance reimagined. That sounds like one where you have to bring in like token black conservatives. I don't know who any of these people are, but my guess is there's probably at least one token black conservative in there. Then Ted Cruz will speak on cancel culture. Oh my God. Okay. Protecting elections, why we must protect elections, how judges and media refuse to look at the evidence. Oh, so they're sort of going in on, hold on, let's see here. They're going to go in on how judges who were like, yeah, none of these lawsuits have any merit. They are part of the problem with why Trump wasn't given the election back. Hans von Spakovsky from the Heritage Foundation will be there. Then they go into Amendment 5, freedom from confiscation of private property. Former Nevada Attorney General Adam Laxalt, he threatened to sue me, actually. That's a story to tell someday. So there will be that. The cost of tuition. A lot of really dumb stuff. Senator Tom Cotton will speak about keeping America safe. Jason Chaffetz will talk about protecting elections and a cover-up of some kind. Senator Marsha Blackburn fighting for freedom of speech. It's almost like a parody of itself. The left's assault on free people. The MC is Ben Ferguson of the... Now, that's a name I haven't heard from for a long time. I didn't know that Ben Ferguson was still around. Matt Gaetz will speak. Charlie Kirk is going to have a presentation. Big Tech is for sale. Rick Scott will talk about opening churches. Josh Hawley will rant. Don Jr. will be introduced by Kimberly Guilfoyle. That's interesting. That's Saturday, right? See, that sounds almost like worthy of streaming. If I'm feeling all right from the vaccine, I might cover that. James O'Keefe and then Dan Bongino will close that out. Then they go to breakout sessions. Then, okay, a lot of nonsense. Something on anti-Semitism, the border. Okay, so this looks like it's kind of like the third tier type stuff. Okay, next day, the final day, this is Sunday, they'll have a women's breakfast. Oh, I don't know about that. They'll have a Catholic mass. They have Jewish prayer service and a Catholic mass and a Purim luncheon. Wow. And then another Jewish prayer service. Shabbat dinner, a lot of different things. Where is the Trump stuff? Oh, that's all Friday. Oh my God, that's all Friday? I thought we were looking, that's insane. So that's just Friday. Wow. Okay, Saturday, we're going to have to go through this just a little more generally. Rick Grinnell's going to be there. Matt Schlapp playing a major role. Devin Nunes is going to be interviewed by Trent England. This is like, it's such boring, lame stuff. Just retreads of the same fake issues. A lot of these people, names I don't even notice. I don't even recognize. Ken Buck and Daryl Issa. Okay, I know them. The Right to Bear Arms. Lauren Boebert will be on the Right to Bear Arms panel. And Dana Loesch, who has attacked me publicly, will be there as well. Some other stuff. Pete Hegseth from Fox and Friends. We're not missing the Biden thing right now. Okay. Pete Hegseth is going to be there. That'll be exciting. And then Governor Kristi Noem from South Dakota will speak. Then they do breakout sessions. Okay. Then we get to the final day, which is Sunday, which will kick off with a Catholic Mass and a Protestant church service. They will screen the Plot Against the President movie with a Q&A. Wow. Then they're going to do other things. Larry Kudlow will speak about denying people their prosperity. Just none of this is even interesting, like in passing. Tom Fitton will speak. That guy's out of his mind. Protecting elections. A lot of nonsense. Health rationing. Check the number and dial again. Amendments. They will do a CPAC straw poll. And then Donald. So this is the area where young Pharaoh was supposed to speak until young Pharaoh's comments about Jews being thieves came out, and they've canceled him. And then at 3:40, President Donald Trump will be there. So for me, the most interesting things would probably be the none of it's really interesting, but Kimberly Guilfoyle introducing Don Jr. on Friday sounds interesting. And then Trump on Sunday, especially if he announces that he's running in 2024. So I'll hope to cover those events, and then probably nothing. I don't even think the Saturday stuff is even worthy of looking at. So that's my thought. Depending on what's going on tomorrow afternoon, I will try to cover that. Sean Stringer says, what happened to the Election Integrity Commission that was put together after Trump got elected? Yeah, it ended. It was not able to find any evidence of lack of election integrity, and it was disbanded. That's basically it. That's how it all went down. All right, I do have an unban request to adjudicate. YouTube doesn't have this, but Twitch does have a mechanism where if people get banned, they can ask to be unbanned, and then we can decide together. I do have my gavel, and we are coming together as a court of Twitch unbans. This is a user named Psycho Case. He participated today. He created his Twitch account 21 days ago. Appeared in our channel for the first time today and sent the message, "Is this a libtard stream?" They then sent the message, they spelled the F word about gay people, but with an @ sign for the letter A. They were then banned. They have appealed the ban with the message, "Is this a libtard stream?" This court has considered this one very, very carefully, and this individual is going to be made a moderator. No, I'm kidding. This is a permaban, and we have ruled. There it is. And that request is denied. That will be a permanent ban. I mean, it's like, that's not even, what are we even talking about? I feel like even some of the kids that watch the stream would be able to adjudicate that one. That's just like, it doesn't even seem like those people really even want to be unbanned, right? Like why even, they know they're not getting unbanned when they send that message. Okay, very good. So we've got that. We are standing by for Joe Biden. And, there's also, I don't know if people are interested in this. I had there's a new NASA live stream. Let me see where this is. This is fascinating. As many of you know, we covered the NASA Perseverance rover landing on Mars some days ago. And I believe that they were having a press conference with some really interesting new stuff. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, people's cats and dogs seem to like the gavel. That's funny. Oh, no, this is not what I thought. Okay, no, this is actually not that interesting. Where was that NASA live stream? Hold on a second. Sadly, I'm unable to find it. NASA Perseverance video. First ever video of Perseverance rover. Yeah, well, let's at least look at the video that was released. It is fascinating. It is absolutely fascinating stuff. Here we go.
Applicant indicates chute deployed.
The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed. And
This is the actual landing.
Acceleration.
Now, for people who don't remember, at a certain point, a chute deploys, and what you're seeing is a camera looking up from the rover with the chute up above.
And the velocity. Our current velocity is 440 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Heat shield set.
Perseverance is now slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is 145 meters per second. And
Isn't that something?
9.5 kilometers above the surface.
That's Mars, by the way. Yeah, it does look like Vegas before it was developed.
Velocity solution 3.3 meters per second. Altitude 7.4 kilometers.
Now has radar lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second, 6.6 kilometers above the surface of Mars. Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We are coming up on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our
Look
current
at that.
velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers.
LVS valid.
We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of terrain relative navigation.
Priming. TBA is nominal.
We have priming of the landing engines.
And with that, we have COVID on Mars.
83
No, I'm
meters
kidding.
per second at about 2.6 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second at an
They're
altitude
diverting.
of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
Kieran, safety Bravo.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars. We have started our constant velocity.
Look at
Which
this.
means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver.
And there it's lowering the rover down.
About 20 meters off the surface.
We're getting signals from MRO. Tango Delta.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface.
Amazing, amazing stuff.
Ready to begin seeking the sands of past life.
Really incredible stuff. I mean, just unbelievable video. Unbelievable video. And just imagine what we're going to get back in the years to come. Just truly, truly stunning stuff. Okay, other super chats. Daniel says, who is in to crash the Purim luncheon? If there are bagels and lox, count me in. Yeah, that's not bad. That's maybe the one event I would go to at CPAC is the Purim luncheon, particularly if there's brisket. Matt says, love the gavel, props to your props. And the gavel is used by El Chapulín Colorado. Yeah, I know. Yeah, people have told me that. A famous Mexican comical character. Yes, I've been advised of the similarity there. I am aware of it. Let me just see if I am able to find that other live feed. Rover mission. Yeah, I'm struggling to find it. Did we miss the Biden event? Oh, no, everybody's still waiting for it. Okay. Just making, yeah, that was weird. It looked like it was over. Seems like it's just delayed. Not like the Biden administration to be late. Let's check the calendar and see if anything did indeed get moved. 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. No, they are running 30 minutes late. That is really odd. Really, really odd. Everybody's standing by. Okay, well, no problem. Steven says, don't. Ben Shapiro is going to be at that luncheon. Yeah, if I went to see, I don't know, is Ben Shapiro even going to CPAC? Does anybody actually know? I've not seen that. It's unclear to me that Ben Shapiro at this point is flying to Florida. Or Florida, either, really. Yeah, I've not seen his name on there. Ben Shapiro lives in Florida? Is that true? I thought Ben Shapiro lived in L.A. Strange. Okay. All right, well, fair enough. Okay, let me move on. I did have a couple of other... Now, here's something interesting. Sometimes people ask me why I play the bad voicemails instead of the good ones. I have to tell you, like, with total peace and love to everybody that calls in, the good voicemails are really few and far between. Like, really, really, anything that's in... A lot of times people call and, like, they're not angry, but they just use up the full maximum 3 minutes to not really say anything. Let me see here. I have one Jimmy from Philly voicemail. Let's just listen to that just to see what it is.
Jimmy from Philly. Wiped. So, apparently you're a cuck little boy when it comes to bad information or great information for you as a progressive as to Trump's defense lawyers. I sent you videos.
I'm already lost. I already don't know what he's talking about.
On absolute truth on how I dominated one of Trump's defense lawyers, William J. Brennan. It's just a complete fact. I mean,
I don't know what he's talking about.
I sent it to your email. I mean, it amazes me that you wouldn't cover something like that.
What is he talking about? He owned Trump's lawyer?
Dude's a fucking, I don't know. He's a Philadelphia lawyer. I mean, he's half a scumbag. What can I tell you? I'm from Philly. I mean, everything there is corrupt.
Yeah, as if I'm checking emails like that frequently. As I've said before, we get 6,000 messages, emails, tweets, and stuff a day. I'm lucky if I see 0.1% of it.
Building walls. I mean, it's like, I guess anywhere else in the United States, if you have money, you're going to do better criminally.
That's true.
Hire a private lawyer, you're going to do
true.
better.
Yep.
Which is why I don't understand half the arguments with black people. I mean, if you're going to do crime, I mean, case in fact, the attorney I still use today, Unitarian, all the black people that hire him, and I meet them in the audience of these criminal hearings, they fucking love him.
I don't know what the hell Jimmy's talking about, but just for kicks, okay, I'm going to play a random, quote, normal voicemail. You tell me if you think these are interesting, because these are the alternative. These are the alternative to, like, the stuff that I'm normally playing, okay? Like, here's just an example voicemail. I'm picking a random voicemail. I'm not attacking whoever this is, but this is just like a quote normal voicemail.
Hello, David. This is Anna from Miami, the Argentinian from Miami. I got my first dose of the Moderna vaccine today at my community healthcare center. And while waiting with other patients, we started talking. And I can't believe it. The clinic is crossing information with other centers, calling other centers because they have more vaccines than people. I asked for an appointment this morning, and I got an appointment for today at 4:30 p.m. and they were talking, the nurses, that there were 3 or 4 people who had appointments and didn't show, and they would have to throw away the vaccines. And my daughter, who is 40, works at the front desk of a hotel, and I see all her co-workers. I see the cashiers at the grocery store.
So this goes on for 3 minutes. Like, is this the type of voicemail people want? Let me know. Let's take another, just, again, these are just random examples. Here's another one, okay? Tell me if this is interesting.
Hey, David. I'm a first-time caller into your show, but I have been listening to you for the last few months. I really appreciate a lot of your opinions. I'd like you to speak about whether or not you think that Twitter and Facebook should be regulated as a new public sphere, which I realize would allow more of the conservative hate speech, such as the stuff that was popping up on Parler. But I also think that at times liberal left-leaning extremist organizations who maybe don't espouse the same kind of hatred are scooped up into that. And I do think that Twitter and Facebook can start to use that as a tool to silence all types of speech that goes against the establishment. So all non-establishment left-wing pages would also be targeted. So I was wondering if you thought that maybe regulations of the public's of those.
All right. So, like, is that interesting? You know, we've done 10 videos about this issue. So, I mean, maybe that's interesting. I'm not sure. Let's see. Here's another random one. I don't know. Actually, this might be repeater. Hold on.
Hey, David, what's up, man? Big fan of the
no,
show,
it's not.
man. I felt the need to call in, man. I'm not Troy, New York. I'm not one of these crazy guys who the David Gossip Show, but I think you really need to hear what I have to say. And it's in regards to what the Republican Party tried to do with King Pharaoh and bringing him on. First and foremost, they're well aware of these Israelites. The guy that you actually have done the show with, Peterson, I believe his name is, he's been interviewing these Israelites for a long time. Now, here's my issue. My problem with them is the divide that they suffer here, right? So they fall victim to the same thing that we all do. The problem is with the black Israelites is that this is in America. So we've been taught this divide from the beginning. So obviously, they're...
Uh-oh. So this one just cuts out. He called back 6 times on this same issue. Like, okay, I don't know that that's something that we could really do. Let's see, just like, I'll do one other sample just to see what people think. Here's one more.
Hey, David, this is Vigo from Detroit. I just wanted to say I think you're doing a great job. I love your lives. Actually, my favorite part of the lives is just the stuff that happens before the event itself on
Well, you're part of it now, my friend.
the live. And then your recent live, you mentioned that this thing about COVID and all the, anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers, COVID deniers thing. I would definitely like you to see, I would like to see you do more stuff on that, because I know people who are COVID deniers, but weren't necessarily Trump supporters.
Okay, so anyway, as you can see, like, when we get 100 voicemails, typically the ratio is out of 100 voicemails, one, and we love everybody, it's great, everybody's calling, and we love everybody's perfect and beautiful, all these different things. But as far as like, what can I use on the broadcast show? I need something under 90 seconds that's got a clear point or question. So that narrows it down from every 100 we get to probably 4 that I can pick from, and I use one of those. And then you've got, 4 to 6 from every 100 that are like whacked out, stuff like the Troy York stuff or the other guy. So like, that's what we're dealing with. So when people ask for good voicemails, the point is we're doing the best we can. And anyway, okay. I'm Mikey says Jimmy from Philly's white intro gets me every time. I still don't know if that's what he's saying. It sounds like he says Jimmy from Philly white, but he might be saying something completely different. I have no idea. It's really hard to tell, and I don't even want to go back to it at this point. Okay, we are standing by 40 minutes late now for a Joe Biden event related to achieving 50 million vaccinations in the United States. Let's actually look at the exact numbers and see what we have here. Okay. The Centers for Disease Control said on Wednesday, that's yesterday, about 45 million people have received at least one dose, including 20.6 million who have been fully vaccinated. The work to distribute the vaccine comes as more than 503,000 have died. So are we not actually at 50 million yet? That's interesting. Or maybe that information is lagging a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, Joe Biden is going to be commemorating that today. We're expecting Kamala Harris. CPAC starts tomorrow. My thought is I'll cover a little bit of CPAC tomorrow live, and then the Trump speech on Sunday, where he may be announcing that he's running for president in 2024. That's my thought. That's my plan as of right now. Thanks to Dagger 6, as well as the Senate, Rahenki, Trish the Dish, Imitzkowski, and insert clever username. Also Turtle and Wonder Doggy for signing up via Twitch. Very much appreciate that. 5 of those people are ones I didn't already thank before. So that'll put us at 30. That'll put us at 30. Okay. Buffalo says, what about changing the voicemail time to 90 seconds and setting guidelines for people to follow if they want to get their call read on the air? So it's a Google Voice number. I'm not aware of any way to change it to only a 90-second voicemail. It's a 3-minute limit. I'm not aware of any way to change that. Lindsay says, wait, what happened this week with the Lincoln Project? I don't even know. Yeah, when somebody brought that up, I have no idea. I have no clue what that was about. Can anybody tell me what did happen with the Lincoln Project? Let me see. Lincoln Project. Lincoln Project. Young men accuse Lincoln Project co-founder of harassment, but that was almost a month ago. The rise and fall of the anti-Trump Lincoln Project. Okay, maybe that'll tell us what's going on. I'm as curious as other folks are. Which maybe not that curious, actually. Okay. Oh my goodness. The Lincoln Project's members fall from their perch of anti-Trumpist fame to political grifters. Sidestepping sexual predation in their midst has had the velocity of a super collider. The depth of the crater from the detonation may not be known for weeks or months to come as more victims of co-founder John Weaver's sexual advances come forward and the group's craven cash grab is unwound. I like this article. The group's questionable spending and tactics were in plain sight last year, even before the election. Public disclosures showed that the Lincoln Project was not making strategically minded media buys, but rather was producing provocative ad content, usually targeting Trump, that brought cathartic joy to millions of Americans and helped pry donations from them. And in the end, the founders paid themselves millions while probably creaming unreported millions more in commissions from ads and fundraising. But it wasn't just the hinky self-dealing finances that went ignored. The group's tone and crass language regularly mirrored Trump's own demeaning rhetoric. Founder Rick Wilson, a former guest on this program, called Trump supporters tin-toothed rubes and mocked them by using a stereotype Southern accent. I thought Rick Wilson spoke in a Southern accent. Maybe I'm not remembering that. Senior advisor Jeff Timmer's constantly profane tweets included one directed at Senator Lindsey Graham with the sentiment to F yourself. Okay, all right, well, so I guess it's basically what we expected. But, oh, here we go, Joe Biden. Whoa. This is awkward.
Okay.
Is this the 50 millionth vaccine?
Dose number 1. Okay, we're going to do your left arm. You and I talked earlier about the medical issues. I'm going to review the side effects. You could have a sore arm. You could have redness or swelling at this side. And if your body is feeling tired. Okay? I'm going to do this in the left arm. I'll need to be able to see your shoulder.
I can give the injection. You need help, I can give the injection. Trust me, I will. You don't want me to do that.
All right. This will be me tomorrow.
Nothing to it.
Yeah, perfect. Vaccine card, you can bring that for dose number 2. Okay? Okay. All right, let's let it.
Well done.
Thank you.
There it is. What it is, we don't yet know.
Hey, how are you doing?
Is this Fauci back here? Does anyone know? Sort of looks like him. Doesn't usually wear a lab coat.
You're receiving Pfizer dose number 1, COVID vaccine. It's going to go on your shoulder. Possible side effects, you can have a sore arm. You could have a swelling, body ache, fever, headache, all normal. Okay? When we're done, you're going to have a vaccine card. You're going to bring that back for dose number 2. Okay?
Got it.
I've got my vaccine card kept in a very safe place. I'll be laminating it afterwards. We are watching vaccinations, apparently 50 million. I think that is Fauci. How does he decide when to wear a lab coat, I wonder? And by the way, why has no one told Meghan McCain when she gets to get a vaccine?
Okay.
Thank you very much. The word to do good. No, especially God made man and I made a few firefighters.
Someone just showed up in Twitch chat, followed 30 seconds ago, and called me and Biden a cuck, and he's already banned.
My name's Elizabeth. I'm a registered nurse at the NIH. I'm going to be administering Pfizer COVID vaccine dose number 1 to you.
Really going through these quickly. I like it. I mean, this is how you could do it. We need tens of thousands of vaccinators.
These are all normal reactions. Dose number 2 is in 21 days. I'm going to give you a vaccine card. You're going to bring that back. Is that dose? We'll put that on. And I'm going to need to see the top of your shoulder.
These are some strong vaccinate. I kind of like this. I don't know why, but I love it.
I think I was going to get one.
The bad news is we're only at 49 million, so they're going to be doing 1 million of these on camera. It's going to be a while. Hope you guys are sticking around. I would prefer a better mic setup, yeah. This is like a Zen thing. Remember the moment of Zen at the end of the Daily Show? I don't know if they're still doing that. I haven't watched it in 10 years, probably.
All right, Chair, we'll have a seat. My name's Elizabeth. I'm a registered nurse at the NIH. I'm going to be administering Pfizer dose number 1.
Biden seems pleased.
Possible side effects later. You could have a sore arm. You could have a headache, feeling chills, body aches, all normal, okay? I'm going to give you a vaccine card when we're done. You're going to hold on to that and bring it back for dose number 2, which is due in 21 days, okay?
So this is the Pfizer vaccine, 21 days between doses. Moderna's 28 days. And expecting approval by Monday of a single dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine, just one dose. Double-masked Fauci liking the technique, I think.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fauci with the wave.
Me?
Yep.
All right.
Well, thank you all. Dr. Fauci, thanks for your leadership. Thanks for being here. 2 weeks ago, I spent some time with you and Dr. Francis Collins, the director of the National Institute of Health at NIH. You gave me a tour of the Vaccine Research Center in Bethesda, Maryland. And it's the place where our top scientists spend years researching and developing vaccines and treatments for all kinds of viruses. The brilliant team there made possible the rapid deployment and development of COVID-19 vaccines, and they're truly remarkable. And this administration will follow the science to deliver more breakthroughs. You know, we are doing that to beat COVID-19 and other diseases like cancer, which is something that's so personal to so many families, including me and Kamala's and many of yours. We've asked Dr. Eric Lander, a renowned Harvard MIT scientist, to serve as my science advisor and head of the Office of Science and Technology Policy and co-lead the Presidential Council on Advisory Science and Technology. These are the White House offices that bring together the country's top scientists to address our most pressing needs. And they'll be part of the work to develop a DARPA-like advanced research effort on cancer and other diseases, just like we do DARPA in the Defense Department, which develops breakthrough projects to secure our national security. And relatedly, I'm delighted to see 5 of the nation's leading cancer centers are joining forces today to build on the work of the cancer moonshot I was able to do during the Obama-Biden administration to help break through silos and barriers in cancer research. We're making progress. There's so much we can do, so much progress within our reach. And that's why I'm thankful to the folks here today for getting their vaccine shots. Gerald Bunn, and Corey Hamilton, both DC firefighters. I said to Corey that, that old expression, God made man, then he made a few firefighters. Thank God we have them. And Linda Bussey is a manager of Safeway grocery store in Bethesda. Victoria Leggerwood Rivera, who is a local school counselor. And Elizabeth Calloway, who's a registered nurse who administers these shots. And the more people get vaccinated, the faster we're going to beat this pandemic. That's why one of my first goals in office, when I was just before I was sworn in, I indicated that my goal was to get 100 million COVID vaccine shots in people's arms in my first 100 days as president.
Looks like it'll happen.
At first, critics said that goal was too ambitious. No one could do that. Then they said it was too small. That the bottom line, though, is that America will be the first country, perhaps the only one, to get that done. And today, I'm here to report we're halfway there. 50 million shots in just 37 days since I've become president. That's weeks ahead of schedule, even with the setbacks we faced during the recent winter storms, which devastated millions of Midwestern cities, towns, and also the same in the South. We're moving in the right direction, though, despite the mess we inherited from the previous administration, which left us with no real plan to vaccinate all Americans. And every time we administer another 50 million shots, I'm going to use that milestone to report to the American people on our vaccination program and on our overall fight against this pandemic.
Hopefully the next one's in 30 days.
Good and the bad, I'll tell you. The success and the failures. And here's the deal. Here's the deal. The story of this vaccination campaign is like the story of everything hard and new America does. Some confusion and setbacks at the start, and then if we do the right things, we have the right plan to get things moving. That's what we're seeing right now. The weeks before I became president, the previous administration saw 6 million shots administered last week. This coming week, we will administer over 12 million shots, double the pace in just 6 weeks that we've been in office. Other milestones. We've increased vaccination distribution to states by 70%. Nearly 60% of people over the age of 75 have now received at least one shot. It was 14% 6 weeks ago. And close to 50% of people over the age of 65 have at least one shot now. It was 8% 6 weeks ago. It's important because people over 65 account for 80% of all the COVID deaths. Additionally, about 75% of the people who live in long-term facilities have gotten their first shot, and those cases are at the lowest level since reporting began in May. Here's how we've been doing it.
Pull up an image on that.
Increasing the supply. My team has worked very hard with vaccine manufacturers, Pfizer and Moderna, to ensure we have enough supply for all adult Americans by the end of July. When we discovered the vaccine manufacturers weren't being prioritized when it came to securing supplies they needed to make the vaccine, we fixed the problem. I used the Defense Production Act to speed up the supply chain for key equipment, which has already helped increase vaccine production. Last week, I toured the Pfizer facility, manufacturing facility in a plant in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It's incredible, the precision, the safety, the pride, and the sense of purpose everyone involved in that process and project has. We've all seen the news about Johnson & Johnson's vaccine. The idea of a third safe and effective vaccine is very promising. The Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, is reviewing the data and will review recommendations from outside committee of experts that will be meeting tomorrow. Now, let me be clear. We are going to do this the right way. The FDA will decide on emergency use authorization of a vaccine based on science, not due to any political pressure from me or anyone else. No outside factors. What I will say to the American people is this: if the FDA approves the use of this new vaccine, we have a plan to roll it out as quickly as Johnson & Johnson can make it. We'll use every conceivable way to expand manufacturing of the vaccine, and we'll make even more rapid progress on overall vaccines in March. I'll have more to say about this in the days after the FDA review. Look, we've been laser focused on the greatest operational challenge this country has ever undertaken: administering shots in the arms of hundreds of millions of Americans. We're increasing the number of vaccinators. One we found was you may have the vaccine, but not enough people to put the vaccine in someone's arm, like you just saw.
Right.
We brought back retired doctors and nurses. We've already deployed more than 1,500 medical personnel you see during national disasters from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. And we commissioned our commission corps from the Department of Health and Human Services and the Defense Department, including the National Guard, supplying vaccinators. We're lining up thousands more to do the vaccinations. We're also setting up more places for people to get vaccinated. As of today, we provided $3.8 billion to states, territories, and tribes to create hundreds of new vaccination centers and ramp up the existing ones that are there already. We're working with governors across the country in red and blue states to bolster their efforts to stand up hundreds of vaccination centers from stadiums to community centers, houses of worship, large parking lots. We're providing personnel and equipment and covering the costs for the states, including for the use of their National Guard, which they're incredible. Today, Jill and I, or I should say tomorrow, Jill and I will travel to Houston, Texas, to tour one of the first federal mass vaccination centers and to thank everyone involved. This is an example of the kind of partnership between federal, state, and local governments and public and private partners that's going to get this job done. We also sent millions of vaccines to thousands of local pharmacies all across America to make it easier for folks to get the vaccine shot like they would their flu shot, going to a familiar place, familiar folks that they can trust and know to get the shot. And for folks who don't live near a vaccination center or a pharmacy, we're deploying mobile units. These are special vehicles and pop-up clinics that meet folks where they live and where they don't have transportation to get the shots.
That I like.
Get to the places to get the shots.
That's solid.
We've also started to send vaccines directly to community health centers to help the hard to reach folks in cities and small towns and rural communities, in Black, Latino, Native American communities that have higher rates of COVID infections and deaths than any other groups. As a result of these round-the-clock efforts, in 5 weeks, America's administered the most shots of any country in the world, with among the highest percentage of population fully vaccinated. That's progress, we promise.
It is true that other than Israel, the U.S. is really the place to be as far as vaccines go right now. We could talk about why.
Are coming down. But I need to be honest with you. Cases and hospitalizations could go back up with new variants as they emerge. So I want to make something really very clear. This is not a time to relax. We must keep washing our hands, stay socially distanced, and for God's sake, wear a mask. Some of our progress in this fight is because so many Americans are stepping up and doing those things. And the worst thing we could do now is let our guard down. Of course, it's my hope to come back in the next report that after we've done another 50 million shots before the end of my first 100 days. But here's the critical point. As hard as it is now to believe, we're going to hit a phase in this effort, maybe as late as April or May, where many predict that instead of long lines of people waiting to get a shot, we'll face a very different scenario. We'll have the vaccine waiting. We'll have ramped up vaccine supplies. We'll have administrated folks to administer the shots.
But people won't want it.
To the most of the people who aren't eager to get the shots. At least that's been the prediction. I don't think it's going to happen. I think more people see other people getting the shots. It's going to build confidence. But at the same time, there are people who live in hard-to-reach areas who can't get them. And there are folks who are hesitant to take the shot in the first place. We all know there's a history in this country of subjecting certain communities to terrible medical and scientific abuse. But if there is one message that needs to cut through, it's this. The vaccines are safe and effective. And I believe as you see your neighbor, your husband, your wife, your son, your daughter getting it, that you will be much more inclined to get it. Listen to Dr. Fauci. Listen to the scientists who developed these vaccines and the extensive and rigorous review they went through. I did. I took my shots publicly to demonstrate to the American people that it's safe and effective. But the time is coming, maybe 60 to 90 days, when the supply is adequate, but not enough people can access the shots or don't want them. To address that challenge, we're going to launch a massive campaign to educate people about vaccines, that they are safe and effective, and where to go to get those shots in the first place. And we're going to bring together leaders of all segments of our society to educate and encourage all Americans to get vaccinated. So I hope the Senate will soon confirm a key leader to that effort, my nominee for the Secretary of Health and Human Service, Javier Becerra, who did so well in this hearing this week. And I hope Congress passes the American Rescue Plan, which I've been pushing, which provides funds for everything we need to do to beat this pandemic. And
time to pass that. Long time.
Now, critics say the plan is too big, that it costs too much. But let me ask a rhetorical question. What would you have me cut? What would you have me cut out? On vaccines alone, if we don't invest $20 billion to vaccinate the nation, doesn't that make sense? Or $160 billion in total toward the pandemic for testing, to protective gear, to vaccine production and distribution? I'm ready to hear any ideas on what will make the American Rescue Plan better, stronger, and effective. But we'll have to answer who will get helped and who will get hurt. I want to close with this. The question I'm asked most often is, when will things get back to normal?
Right.
My answer is always honest and straightforward. I can't give you a date. I can only promise that we'll work as hard as we can to make that day come as soon as possible. While things are improving and we're going from a mess we inherited to moving in the right direction at a significant speed, this is not a victory lap. Everything is not fixed. We have a long way to go. And that day when everything gets back to normal depends on all of us. It depends on Congress passing the American Recovery Act, recovery plan. And also for us to remain vigilant, to look out for one another. I've said it before, wash your hands, stay socially distanced, wear a mask, get the vaccine when it's your turn. When your friend or neighbor or loved one is eligible, encourage them to get vaccinated. And above all, remember we can do this. This is the United States of America. There's nothing we can't do when we do it together. So it's not over yet, but we're getting close. And God willing, if we do all we know we have to do, we're going to beat it sooner than later. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you for your time.
Mr. President, President, whatever happened to your promise from 7 weeks ago that if Democrats flip the Senate...
Looks like no questions will be taken here. No questions for the time being. And off he goes. Oh, wait, maybe he's going to have a little something else.
My mask.
Oh, his mask. And there it is. All right, vaccinations need to continue increasing. That's the message, and in principle, they will. All else being equal and everything being possible, tomorrow my plan is to stream around 3 Eastern, where it will be the keynote CPAC speech of day one. It'll be Don Jr., introduced by Kimberly Guilfoyle. That'll be a real party. And then we will see you back on Sunday, of course, for the closing of CPAC, the rare weekend stream, the Donald Trump speech. We are going to raid someone on Twitch. Why don't we raid? Man, I don't even know. There's nobody. Let's raid the stock guy. We've never raided the stock guy. Let's see how that goes. Appreciate everybody who joined me and hope to see everybody tomorrow. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitter, and then you'll be notified when there are future streams. Nothing better than that.